This is Justin Morneau. I'm here with Ryan Jeffers, and he's going to lead us through his off-season routine. He's in his cage back at his college right now in North Carolina, so it'll be interesting to see what he has in store for us. But I'm going to start by asking him a couple questions here, and we'll kind of go on that. My question is, do you hit before you lift?
No, so especially in the off season, my college coach is here feeding the tea for me and everything today. So for me, I lift in the mornings in the off season. I usually lift around, my time slot right now is 8:00. We'll be over here, especially with the protocols now. We have a certain slot here at campus where we need to get in and get out before the college guys come in. But I'll lift in the morning. I'll go home, eat a little breakfast, and then head right back out here and start doing whether it's catching that day. I kind of try and split it up between catching, hitting, throwing. Those three things for me, obviously, are the big three that I try and divvy up my time each day according to how I'm feeling, what I've done that week, and then we'll go from there. So for me, I would start with one hit in the back.
You won't hit every day?
No, I mean it'll ramp up for the first couple of weeks. When I start hitting, it'll be a 3-day a week hitting. And then after a little while, I'll ramp up to 4 days. And then probably the last couple of weeks before spring training, I'll start going 5 days. You know, I'm pushing, when I do swing, I push my body pretty hard to where having those recovery days in there are good for me. I mean,
yeah, I ask you that because, you know, we're talking to young Twins fans and parents of Twins fans. And, you know, people think that their kids need to be in personalized lessons, you know, right, 5 to 7 days a week. And even coming from, you know, a guy who's in the big leagues saying that, you know, it's a process you have to build up, and you're trying to build up strength, and you can overdo it. And you know, right, you're a good example of that. I'm the same way in the off season. I never hit more than 4 to 5 days. I always took the weekends off because I knew once you hit spring training, there's 2 days off, and then in the 45 to 55 days that you're there. So you kind of have to build in that rest. And I think that's important for parents and for young players to hear too. Obviously you want to get your work in, but at the same time you need to recover. So that's good to hear.
Absolutely. And over time, it's been like, I mean, through high school, through college, now into pro ball, it's realizing that quality over quantity. I mean, it's always talked about, but getting on the team, taking 500 swings a day is only do so much if you're not taking good quality swings. I mean, you got to take the right amount of swings and get your work done and do good reps every time.
So you're looking for consistency with your bat path. You're trying to get that over and over and over again to train your swing to be able to get to that pitch. This one looks like it's at the top of the zone. So you do that over and over, and then you add in the legs later once you feel like you have that bat path you want.
Right. Absolutely. So this one, I start a little like right where I would probably try and land. And I'm just trying to work this one, not really caring about where it's going. I'm just trying to work it to that right, probably kind of towards second base on the line, not getting under it, just staying on top, kind of hitting that inside part of the ball, working it that way. So it's just like that.
So your thought process is opposite field line drive here.
Right. The tee set up on the outer half of the plate, really on the corner of the plate, down and away. Obviously the tee's up right now. Just trying to work it at that angle, not trying to get under the ball too much. Just work it right there on the line. And then I'll take 5 there. I'll kind of lower it down to the middle. A little bit lower here. I'm trying to make sure I'm not losing my angle, because as the ball goes down, my chest is going to drop a little bit to go after the ball. So I really like to play with the heights on this one-handed stuff to really, like I said, find that slot for all the different pitches.
Are you so routine? Are you stuck in your routine where it's like 5 good, 5 bad, no matter what, I'm only taking 5 to the opposite field? Or is there a little bit of room there of saying, okay, that didn't feel exactly how I wanted it to feel, I'm going to take 1 or 2 more and see if I can get that bat, you know, kind of going through the zone the way I want to?
Yeah, for me, my routine is built around feel. I'm trying to put myself in the situation where I'm feeling good. So if it takes 5, I mean, I usually try and get a good amount. If I'm really in the groove, I'll take 5 to 10. But if I'm still trying to find that slot, I'll stick there until I find the right slot that works through that ball.
Okay.
So then I'll drop it down even lower. Same thing, trying to work on that line to the opposite field. Try not to chop it, just trying to stay right on that line. Right there. And then I'll switch to my pull it back up, and I'll switch to my top hand. and do kind of the same thing. This one, I choke up a little bit, and really when I finish, I try and finish with the bat on my forearm. I'm not trying to roll it over, not trying to come under it, just trying to finish it nice and strong with my forearm. A lot of my drills are based on trying to stay through the ball, because that's trying to stay in the zone as long as possible. Helps you adjust to the different types of pitches, the different speeds that you're going to see throughout an at bat.
Yeah, if your thought process is fastball, 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 and all of a sudden the ball's halfway to the plate and you recognize it's not that fastball you're looking for, by you being able to keep your barrel through the zone, it gives you a chance to still stay on that slider, even if you were fooled a little bit, or stay on that curveball from a righty, those pitches moving away from you. I think that's probably what your thought
100%.
process is.
Absolutely. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll drop it at the 3 positions. I'll drop to the middle, work that same slot. I kind of put an L screen over at where I'm kind of aiming, just to give me a visual. I'll push it off to that side, and kind of I'm just working right through that spot every time. To tell you the truth, I'm just trying to hit the L screen. That's like, if I go in that side, it's going to be a good spot.
And then obviously, is your thought, do you ever think about launch angle as you're doing this? Do you ever think about trying to hit the ball in the air, or your thought is only somewhere on the top part of that screen is going to end up being a line drive that's going to carry and kind of give you a best chance to get a hit, whether you hit the top of the ball or you miss it a little bit, it's got a chance to be off the wall or something like that?
I never try and, in the cage especially, I heard Mark McGuire say it. He always would try and work through the pitcher's chest, waist area off the tee, thinking that process, and work through the pitcher's head off of flips. And I really try and do the same thing. I try and not have anything that's above the top of the L screen on flips. That's flips tee. Because as I start, as either BP thrower backs up, a pitcher backs up, whether you're on the machine, you're naturally going to get that loft. You'll see in flips, I do a good amount of drills to counteract that natural, because I have a natural launch in my swing. So I do a lot of to counteract that, to come down on the ball, make sure I'm staying short back here on the backside.
Okay.
So then we'll go down even further here, doing the same thing.
It's funny, your tee routine looks a lot like mine. And Tony Oliva used to come in the cage, and I work on that low and away. And he'd look at me and go, why are you practicing hitting that pitch? I said, Tony, if I can hit this pitch, I can hit any pitch.
Right.
So it's funny to see you going through that same thing.
Yeah, it helps me just finding that slot. Like I said, my routine is so built around feel that, like, I'm just trying to find the slot. I'm not doing my legs. Some guys that have more movement in their legs have to work on that to find their rhythm with that. I'm just a kind of a pick up and fall that, like, I don't have to train myself doing that during these simple tee routines. So next I'll grab it's actually a cruise. It's a 35-33. It's a big bat. And I'll go all the way to the top. People call this the Bonds drill. I've seen A-Rod do it. I've seen Trout do it. This is one of the drills that helps counteract that natural loft. I'm trying to stay short. It's going to be over dramatized. I'm really trying to hit the ball right, probably 4, 5, 6 feet out in front of the plate. Just trying to counteract that. I'll do a couple, just really swinging down, trying to chop that ball, so I stay on top of this one.
And so your thought process on this is, especially with the way the game is going today with elevated 4-seam fastballs, this is your way of a guy who's got, above average spin rate, that he's got that carry through the zone. He's going to live right around the, your letters on your uniform. So this is your thought here, is the only way I'm going to get to this pitch is if I keep my hands above the ball and then I go directly to it. This is kind of what this drill is doing for you?
Absolutely. And I'm never going to swing down like that in the ball. That's not going to happen in the game. But having that thought process, and especially if I'm finding myself in a situation where there's a span of a couple games where I'm on it, but I'm just missing it, kind of flaring those balls to right, I'm going to get in the cage and really work on this, trying to get that shorter back and just really working down on top of the ball. Because I know in the game, everything's going to speed up and it's going to get back up through it.
So you'll go oppo, and then do you do same thing middle, same thing pull, or I guess take us through what's next?
Yeah, for me, so I kind of keep that same approach, but I move it more to the front of the plate, and I'm trying now here to work just a line drive kind of up the middle, kind of like right where the second baseman stand, still trying to stay on top of the ball, but work it more on the line.
So like you were doing with the one hand, now you've got two hands on the bat. And what do you normally swing? What's your bat that you take up to the plate most of the time in the games?
I'll swing a 34, 31 and a half. So now I'll go back to the normal bat. I won't do any of the drill work. For me, all the drill work is kind of middle to oppo. Now that I'll grab my normal bat and I'll work away, middle, in, just for a quick round, and then I'll flip over to flips.
Okay. And now you incorporate your legs into your swing.
A little bit, but I'm still like, normally, like I'm up here and that's my normal, but I still kind of get at that landing spot, and I'll always have that the drive off my backside. But I'm still taking this whole movement out of the swing.
Okay.
So I'll move it more middle.
And so your depth of contact, another point for the kids that are watching, the ball, when you hit it to the opposite field, you catch it a little bit deeper in the zone. You catch it, you saw it on anywhere from the back corner, that outside part of the plate. Now, as you move it more towards the middle and to the pull side, you move it further out because why?
Yeah. So for me, my swing shouldn't change just because it's a pitch down and away. It should just be more of the contact point. Obviously, you're going to get, like we worked on the one-hander, you're going to get a little bit of bend depending on the height, but the swing should stay generally the same. It's just going to be that contact point. And then I'll toss the ball inside, do the same thing, just a couple coming up through. And then that's about it for my tee routine. And then I'll flip over to flips.
I don't know. For me personally, the one thing I did every day, if I never did anything else, I always hit off the tee, and that was something I felt like was essential to me.
Yeah, so I'm sure that it's a big thing for catchers. Our days change so much. We've got so much else going on in the day that my routine's going to fluctuate. There's days where I don't get to hit in the cages at all because I'm busy doing pitching, pregame pitching stuff, other stuff like that I don't quite get the same time every day to find my routine. That's why so much of my stuff is built around feel. Is like I can hop in there and just do flips and go till I have that feel. And if it's 10 swings, it's 10 swings. That's kind of the thing about being the catcher, is how much other stuff, outside stuff that we're going to have to deal with on a daily basis. We don't have the luxury of every day having the shot to get in here and do our whole routine. My biggest job, the place that I can impact the game the most, is behind the plate. So that's always that for me, and for most catchers, that's going to be a priority. I mean, if we got meetings with our pitchers, if we got game prep stuff, like that's going to come ahead of the cage. We'll hop in here, and if we have time for 20 swings, that's all we get.
Well, then even you get into the in-game stuff as well. It's like, okay, you're leading off the 6th inning. It's the 5th inning. You got a new pitcher coming in. You got to meet
Right.
with Wes, and you're going over, the next 3 guys up that half inning, and you're sitting there anxious because you're up. You're going, I got to get my hat.
Absolutely.
I got to get my bat or
Absolutely.
my helmet, and my bat. I got to get ready. But at the same time, that defensive side is so important. So I think it's speaks to how much, how good your year was last year offensively on top of what you did defensively. But that's one of those things. It's just so hard for a catcher, and sometimes I wondered if that actually helped a catcher. Sometimes you have too much time to think about your at bats. You sit over there and think about how you swung at the first pitch and popped it up, and you have 8 hitters, and you're sitting there. And as a catcher, sometimes you're not afforded that luxury. And I think that can actually be a blessing sometimes. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, no, I completely. I mean, I think as a catcher, we have to have a quick short memory. I mean, like I said, our most important job is behind the plate and handling those pitchers. So we can't carry a bad AB out there to the field. You can maybe an outfielder, like, I'm not going to speak for them, but like they might have more of a luxury to go out in the outfield and remember and go through their ABs a little more than I do. But I got to flip that switch real quick. So I'm back to the big bat. I'm doing some swing stops. It's another drill that really helps me stay through the balls, keep that bat in the plane a long time.
Where'd you get this from?
I'm trying to think. I've seen videos of Mookie Betts doing stuff, and then more just experimenting. There was a swing prep drill that we used to do with a PVC pipe that was a swing stop, and I kind of took that into my routine and really found that it helped me in my first round of flips find that right path again, find that feel for the barrel.
So you're a guy
really
looking for
trying
information wherever you can get it, whether if it's off YouTube,
Yeah, I
watching
mean,
guys' routines, whether it's hitting together in groups, obviously different in COVID era where you're kind of isolated in the cage, but whether it's sitting over and watching Nelson Cruz, like you said, you took one of his drills, or,
right.
or watching Donaldson's drills, or
Yep.
or if you get a chance, if you're playing in the Arizona Fall League to learn from other guys out there, whatever it is, you're picking up information wherever you can get it, and then you're trying to figure out how you can use it and how it's going to help you.
Absolutely. Anything that I can find and put my hands on, if I think it might work for me, I'll give it a try. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Then I move on to whatever else. I mean, but it's always an experiment. That's what baseball is. It changes from day to day. You just try and find what works for you and take that and run with it. Like I said, I'm trying everything to hit everything at the top of the L screen or lower. I'm trying to find that right on that line drive, plane.
And as you're doing this, is your thought, see, you said swing stop. So is this your bottom hand is kind of taken over in this drill, or is that
it's a little bit
so that's
both.
just for your direction that you're trying to hit it?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay like right here because that's where I want to be with my swing. That's
just keeping your barrel in the zone as long as you possibly can.
Right, absolutely, and staying through the ball. I mean, I'm trying to stay. If it's down and away, I gotta stay through it, going that way. If it's in, I gotta get that quick turn and pull it in and stay with it.
You'll stay through that ball. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, my legs are completely out of it pretty much.
As you're doing this, are you taking feedback from every swing? Are you going, okay, look, two of them look like they were perfect back to back, right? Exactly what you wanted. So then that one that's just a little bit off, are you trying to make an adjustment every swing you take, or are you trying to eliminate the bad ones as quick as you can and focus on the next one of what you want to do well?
Yeah. So for me, if I roll an over doing that drill, I know that I kind of got around it a little bit, right? I didn't quite get through it. So the next one, I'm really going to try and find that slot. Because I know the one before it, obviously something wasn't right on that one.
So then it's just like you said, everything's about feel. So your feedback is your feel, how that ball felt coming off your barrel, and then what it looked like heading down the cage.
Absolutely. So then I'll grab my normal bat. Still same thing, but I'm not doing swing stops. I'm taking my legs out of it still, but I'm gonna take normal swings, kind of hitting it where it's thrown. Just again working it through the top side of the cage.
If this becomes less mechanical, this becomes more trying to see the ball out of the hand, and then if it's away, drive it the other way. If it's in, pull it, and you're just trying to eliminate some of that mechanical stuff that you did at the beginning, and now it's turning more into almost like a game, like react to where the pitch is thrown.
Right, and I naturally have a little bit of that swing stop in my swing. I mean, I'm not trying to do it here, but you'll still see me kind of finish there.
Because you're a two-hand finish guy, not a one-hand. If you had one, you'd probably go a little further, but with two, you have to stop at some point.
Absolutely. And doing, I mean, drill work like this, staying in that consistent pattern will help me when everything starts speeding up. So then I'll do that for a round or so, and then I'll finally put my legs into it. I will bring my swing to the normal spot and just take normal swings. This is where I'm starting to let everything come together, and still, again, working it through the top of that L screen.
And so when you get in the batter's box, are you trying to line your toe up with the back part of that plate where it, cuts, where that corner is?
Yeah. So in college, we built we had a mental coach that came in and taught us, did a lot on like routine stuff. So I've built a routine that I do every time I walk to the plate. It always puts me in the same spot in the box. I'm not a guy who box adjusts a lot. I say there's a game where a guy's just working me in 9 times out of 10. Yeah, I might give myself an inch or two. That's just smart baseball. But I'm always trying to be in the same spot. My front foot will usually, I try and land right at that front corner of the plate, especially here. If I overstride, it's usually when I get long. So especially in situations like this, I'm really trying to keep it where I was doing all my drill work in that strong position.
Okay, perfect. So what is your thought process right now? Just looking for a pitch out front of the plate?
Yep. And like I said, the one right before that one was a little in. I hit it to left center. That one was middle away. Hit it over the right center. Just really trying to find out field.
Now you're just training your eyes to react to where the pitch is thrown, and you're trying not to think about hands and feet and everything else. It's just looking for a pitch in a spot, trying to make it more game-like where you're less mechanical and you're turning more into an athlete.
Right. At this point in my routine, drill work, I'm done with the drill work. Now it's time to put everything together and just put the ball in the line where it's pitched. Putting the barrel on the ball. That's the name of the game of baseball. So that's about it. That's depending on the day, I will either scoot back, do some normal BP, or move over to machine, get some machine work in, hit off that projector machine, the pro batter. But for me, that's what I do for my work. Yeah.
What about any breaking ball work, anything changing speeds, anything along those lines? When you're doing flips, do you ever have someone change speeds, or do you only do that off the machine of looking for something breaking?
Yeah. So I don't ever do it on flips. I'll have, when overhand work, I'll have the thrower either mixing a curveball sometimes. I haven't gotten to that point yet in this off season to where I've hit off the curveball machine a couple times. Gosh, I'm out of breath. I've never hit and talked this much before.
We need a 30-second timeout for catch a breath.
Seriously, there was a couple times during that I could tell I was just out of breath.
So I guess I'll ask you one more thing. So yeah. I don't know, did you ever, I couldn't do it. How much do you mess around with grip, or do you even think about grip? I know there's people that say line up the knuckles, and the bat never felt comfortable in my hands doing that. I got to a point where I felt comfortable. There's some guys that, turn it all the way around and they have their big knuckles lined up as opposed to the knuckles in the middle of their fingers. But do you mess around with grip at all? Is that something that was taught to you?
Not for me. You watch the videos of Nelson Cruz that he puts up on his Instagram. He's always checking his hands. It's different for every guy. For me, I'm not super worried about where my hands are. That's kind of consistently when I'm doing all my drill work, taking my lower half out of it. That's part of the feel thing. That's part of finding that consistency. I'm a choke up guy. I'll choke up an inch on the end of the bat if I'm feeling like this guy's could beat me with a fastball, or I'm later in a count. And guys like us, we have enough power to where we can swing softer, we can slow everything down and choke up a little bit. Well, we can still, if we get the barrel to the ball in the right spot, we've got plenty of power to get it out. And that's where just realizing that and understanding and accepting that I don't always have to swing 100% every time to get the ball to the ballpark. The goal for me is to try and put the best barrel I can on every swing I take.
Yeah, it starts with that cage routine like we just saw. So we appreciate your time. This has been awesome. Hopefully our Twins fans got a lot out of this and learned a lot, and hope we see another great year out of you coming up. So this has been great, and thank you for doing this, and look forward to see you down in Fort Myers in spring. Absolutely, thank you. I'm looking forward to hopefully having some fans up there for the season, and playing a full 162 for you. So thanks for having me. All right, thank you.